So do you use PowerPoints and slideshows in your course or with your group coaching? Today I want to give you 5 secrets to make them work better and make it easier for you to create. So let's get to it.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here is your host, Julie Hood.
So today is one of those back to basics kind of episodes because there's so many things that are essential to having a good course, and being able to do good presentations is just one of those basic ones. And I will tell you, originally my presentations took me forever to get created. So now I have figured out this super fast system that I use to create and crank out presentations. I did 3 in just a few days. I had 3 different events that I was speaking at, a summit, PodFest, and then I had another presentation for another event that was coming up that I had to crank out. And I was so excited that I had this system set up to make it super simple. So I'm going to give you an idea or two today that you can use. And then if you're really interested, please join me on Saturday, April the 8th, 2023. We're going to be talking about my secrets to having a fast presentation system so that you can crank out presentations quickly too, for either lessons or when you're trying to promote yourself, if you're doing a summit, those kinds of things. There's so many places where you can use these presentations. So if you can crank them out quickly, it makes your life so much better. So I'll have the link in the show notes, or you can go to coursecreatorshq.com/PPP for Power Packed Presentations. PPP. Got that alliteration going in that title this week. Okay, so how can you create better PowerPoints and Keynotes or Google Sheets or Canva presentations, whatever tool you're using? A lot of these concepts can apply to whatever tool. I say PowerPoint because that's what I use the most often. Sometimes I do use Google Sheets. It's an incredible tool also. But just substitute your tool in as I'm going forward and talking about things. Okay, so one of the things that I love about doing your lessons with PowerPoints is you can almost use them a little bit as prompts so that you don't have to memorize your entire lesson. So you can use the PowerPoint to sort of prompt you about what you're talking about. And it's so much easier, and I think actually more interesting for your audience than just a talking head video, when they have something to look at to help have that idea really sink in for what's going on. However, what I don't want you to do is make your slideshow a word-for-word summary of what it is you're teaching and what you're talking about. That is never any good. If you just want a transcript, you can give that to them separately. Let's make it useful for them. And so that's what these 5 secrets are about today. Secret number 1 is that I want you to start with the end in mind. So start with the end in mind. And what I mean by this is, what is it that you want your viewer, watcher, listener to get from your presentation? So is there a certain action you want them to take? Is there something specific that you want them to learn? Where are you trying to take your viewer? So that's where you want to start. Figure out that action on the back end, or maybe it's just learning. That's fine. But what is it specifically that you want them to learn? So start with the end in mind, and then we're going to work backwards from that. So secret number 2 then is to decide the order of your content, because depending on how you arrange it, that will get them to that end point that we just found. So sometimes it's sequential. So there's things you need to do in a certain order. So you sit down and you're like, okay, this lesson needs to happen in this order. They need to do this first, this second, this third. And then by the end of all these steps, then they've got that result. Or it may be something like a story where you've kind of got a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion that you're sharing, and you're giving them the full picture so that when they hear the full story, there's a climax and a aha and a, oh, I got it. You might put your slides together in that kind of order. Or you may do something where it's more of a build-up kind of a lesson presentation. And that's where you start out very basic, very intro. And then the deeper you go, the further you go, the more complex the content is that you're sharing. So any of these can be fantastic, and there's some other ones too. I just want you to kind of think about what is the approach that you're pulling into your presentation so that okay, this is going to be sequential, so I need to do it in this order. Or this is going to be a story, so this is how it's going to unfold for my viewer. Secret number 3 is, and this is a big one, please come back to me if you're multitasking. This is important. I want you to have one idea per slide, one thought per slide, whenever possible. So I know you all have been in those presentations where it comes up and the person has this huge long paragraph and they just basically read it to you off the screen. That is not a presentation. That is reading to you like you're a 6-year-old. Sorry if I'm being a little harsh, but you can tell I don't like those kind of presentations. The one thought per slide also helps you with a couple more things because it makes your pace be much, much faster. Because you're only sharing one thought at a time, then you're clicking through your slides more quickly. So in these kinds of presentations, you may end up with tons of slides, and that's okay because the pace is quicker. Your audience is seeing you get through the content more quickly. They're more likely to stay engaged because you are going through the content more quickly and it's changing. So one thought per slide. Sometimes, you may need to have a list of things, or if you do, like sometimes I will do a slide that has 3 different things on it. So instead of just using a bullet for each of the 3 things, I will try to make the presentation on the slide more interesting with the way the 3 things are arranged. So the default PowerPoint bulleted lists, if you have a lot of those, you need to rework your presentation. And so that's why I'm doing this podcast today, so that it will make your presentation so much better than most of the ones that are out there. So secret number 4 is, we're doing this one thought per slide. I love it when you have one image to go with that thought. So you'll have one thought and one image. So what ends up happening is as you're talking your students through the lesson, they're looking at the screen, they can see the phrase, the topic, the idea, the words for that one idea, and then they have an image to glance at that hopefully reinforces the topic that you're talking about. So you've got one thought, one image, one phrase, and it makes it that much easier for your audience to absorb that content. And then secret number 5 is to get Speedy, with whichever tool that you pick to use. So whether it's PowerPoint, whether it's Canva or Keynote or Google Sheets, they're all pretty similar, but some of them do have some unique tweaks and shortcuts that will make the tool work better. So find out what those are. Figure out how you can be speedier at the creation so that you can spend more time on the thought behind it and less time on the actual creation of the slide. So you can go out to Google, you can type in like PowerPoint shortcuts or Canva secrets and see what you find out for doing better slides in that specific tool. And then sort of like a 5B secret is if you have the budget, hire this out. Put your presentation together with one thought per slide. Go out, find a really good template, and then hire somebody off Fiverr.com or from another website and have them actually do all the formatting and make it look pretty and fill in the images that go with it. If you can afford that, definitely use that feature, because it's probably not the best use of your time to be figuring out how to format in PowerPoint. But, everybody's at a different level. And I remember when I started, I had to do it all myself. So depending on where you are, if you can get some help with that, I think it is a really good thing to be outsourcing. So hopefully these 5 secrets gave you a few ideas that you can use moving forward. I'll recap them quickly for you. Secret number 1 was to start with the end in mind. Secret number 2 is to decide the order of your content. Secret number 3 is to have 1 thought per slide. Secret number 4 is to add a relevant image to that 1 thought. So you have 1 thought, 1 picture. And then secret number 5 is to get Speedy and learn the tools, get those secrets around making it faster and easier to use your tool. And then hire it out whenever you can. But if you want to know more, I have a whole bunch more secrets that I use to crank out my presentations. So would love to have you join me. And right now, I put this at an incredible price of only $37. Once I get it all created and set up and posted, it's going to be $297. So you get to save like 87% if you want to jump in with us on Saturday, April the 8th. 2023. If you're listening to this later, I'm sorry you might have missed the special, but if you're catching this the week it's released, hope you can come join us for that presentation. Also wanted to send out a big thank you to AMC 1007, who left a 5-star review on Apple. He said, or she said, a big win. This podcast is full of useful and inspiring information. Julie presents the topics and information in a way that is attainable and useful. Her insight is amazing. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Doing that happy dance around my office. I totally appreciate it, AMC. Thank you for taking the time to review the podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you are interested in leaving a review, I would appreciate it. But I had one of my favorite students, Patty, mention to me how hard it is to figure out how to leave a review. So let me explain. This is for Apple Podcasts. If you're trying to leave a review, you click on the podcast episode, and then you want to get to the show so you can leave a review on the show, not just the podcast episode. So depending on where you are at, you want to get to the show. So you may have to hit the 3 dots and say go to show. But then once you get on the show page in Apple Podcasts, it will list out the episodes, and then you just keep scrolling down past the episodes, past the hosts and guests, to the ratings and review section. And there it will give you a tap to rate section, and then down a little bit further you can actually write a full review. So hopefully that made sense and can walk you through it. Thanks to everybody who takes the time to leave reviews. I really, really am appreciative of that, and I know it takes time out of your day, so thank you for that. Have an incredible week, and I hope we're able to connect soon, and maybe we'll see you on Saturday. Take care, everybody.